Colin is
dong.
busy over
I'm
here.
trying to
He is
get
moving.
I'm attempting to get as set up as possible because I'm gonna try and do something here
I love it.
while we're doing all this.
All right, cool.
To make it look decent for maybe the socials or just video clips in general. I'm trying to get my side set up.
Cool.
That way it's quick to go on that, and I can attempt to keep up with
The conversation.
the rest of you guys when we get to the topic.
Okay. I don't know what I had a long day.
Yeah,
my day kind of wasn't bad. I'm not gonna call it a bad day. It was just a long day. So I'm a little zapped.
I'm in the same boat with you, and it was cold.
Yeah,
I had to work outside all day. I did in 2 buildings of an 11-unit motel in Sisters, and the high was like 22. It was freezing fog and cold and uncomfortable, and I felt like I was going to fall off the roof.
That's not good.
It was overall dangerous, and I still did all the normal things, but it was just constantly like my fingers were chilly and it's no fun.
Yeah, not great.
I was so busy today that I completely forgot that there was a Liverpool match, and I missed the
Oh my God.
Oh,
thing.
no.
How'd you do that?
I don't know. I'm
You
extremely
didn't even,
disappointed
not even
in
listen
myself.
to it or anything?
Nope.
Got to be off social media for a while.
Has it been ruined for you already? Did you look up the score?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
It's not good.
We're in a title race. I got to look up
You
the
gotta
score
know
to know
right
where
away.
we're at
Yeah,
at the
it's
end of the
funny.
day. Got to look at the league table. Otherwise, I'm.
Was it a positive or was it a happy surprise at the end? Then?
I mean, it was a middle ground because
Okay.
we drew.
All right.
So we
You
did
didn't lose.
technically drop points, but we didn't lose. So we're still at the top of the table.
All right. Okay.
We're good there. Top of the table. Weird team to draw to, but we have been on a tear. We played like some of the biggest teams in Europe and beat them in our last handful of matches.
So they play to the team they're playing. So if they had a lesser...
No, I wouldn't say that. I haven't had a chance to look at what the lineup was or anything, because they very well could have been resting a lot of players. And we do have a few players on injury as well. So there's it could have just been one of those. As long as we don't lose, we're okay, because we've got a pretty good point pad.
I'll be real with you. I know just about as much about soccer as I do about football, or I guess I know as much about football as I do about football.
There you go.
Either way. And I'm currently second to last or last in the league in our fantasy points.
Wait a minute.
No.
I'm gonna call something here. Don't you watch football?
American
A
football?
little bit.
Okay.
And
Do you watch a lot of?
It's a thing in the
European?
background. I played soccer in Alaska because that's what you call it in Alaska. We're weird. And then I played soccer when I was in the Marine Corps as part of like a intramural team thing.
Nice.
But nothing past that. I know to run a lot. I know how to do it, but I don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
I would say I feel the same way about football, American football. I understand the concepts. I know the things that are happening. But, who's the third lineman on the inside of the fourth team? I don't know. I don't know any of that. I have no idea. I know that Patrick Mahomes exists because everybody talks about him a lot. Travis Kelce is dating Taylor Swift. And I like watching the Ducks football because college football is interesting.
Okay. Fair enough.
As far as I got.
And
Colin.
you're also not last. Copley is
I said it.
nose diving.
Okay, I said last or second to last.
Well,
So I don't even know if
we're
they're
in the
second to
playoffs,
last.
So.
Man, we don't have to turn this into our fantasy football podcast. But I every year get so confused by the playoffs. I understand how they work in general, but like the way that the changeover happens on like Tuesday, I was so panicked yesterday because I thought I missed an entire week.
No, but you have a whole other week before you got to do anything.
I was like, oh no, I can't believe it. I'm already losing to Mike by like this huge amount. I can't figure it out. And then I was like, wait a minute.
No.
That doesn't make any sense. I can't
You had a bye into the next round of the loser bracket.
Yeah, so it's a 2-week bye week, and that was what I was betting on, so I didn't even pay attention to it for 2 weeks. And then when I came back on the third week, it hadn't switched yet, and it showed our like projected score, I guess, but it just was very confusing.
I haven't looked this week yet.
Oh, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, because you're playing me for the last place.
Yeah.
Well, second to the last place.
Well, I think we could remember. I think you and I could get there.
Both of you have a chance of getting to
last place.
The last place.
Yeah.
The fight for staying out of last place.
That's a crappy draw, to be honest, too, because the way the bracket works, it's just the way the brackets work. It just wasn't exciting, but whatever. Here we are.
No,
here we are,
and I'm not doing well.
Good, but I'm not doing any better.
All my projected points, I am generally about 60 less. It's been just nightmare, which is fine because I finally tried to draft and do normal things for once in my life.
Didn't you to make some wacky ass first pick like Patrick Mahomes or something?
No,
no. It's Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce in the second round.
The second round.
That was good. Just right on it too. In the second round.
The first round, I took a normal draft pick, and then the second round, I took a tight end because I know that there are only a few that make points. And then from there, I drafted fairly normal, and I tried to do my best. Except it didn't go well, and I feel like I should have done my own draft. That's my thought.
You mean a traditional Mike draft?
Yeah, traditional Mike draft. The problem is everybody else is trying to do those now. It turns out 14 quarterbacks or 3 kickers or who knows what later.
Well, a couple people did, yeah.
That's just the strategy of the auto draft, apparently.
I was laughing that Ryan Robert and Robert Foster are playing each other. Yeah. I don't know how Robert survived with his draft
14 quarterbacks
technique.
He's doing better than he should have. Yeah. By a long shot.
I still am confused about 2 different teams in the league. I don't know who's who. I can't tell the difference between Tyson's team and Steve's
Bulk
team.
Vanderhuge.
Bulk
Vanderhuge is Steve.
Yep.
Okay.
The pumpkin.
Barry McConker is
Barry
Tyson.
McConker is
Tyson.
Okay.
Yeah. It took me a long time to get there as well.
I don't really remember yours except for you have the longest team name. So that's the way. Mike's the longest one. I remember.
Mike is CIA killed. I don't know, something.
Travis Kelce. Yeah, CIA killed Kelce instead of Kennedy. Yeah.
Before we move on from sports, just so you're aware.
Okay. Make me aware.
There is a Liverpool match on Saturday. 4:30 a.m.
4 in the morning, yeah. So I'm going to miss, essentially I'm going to miss 2 in a row because I don't think I can get up at 4 in the morning.
You can get up at 6.
I've tried to do that and varied success. I'll say that.
Okay.
We are playing Everton, so technically it's it's a Merseyside derby for us. So Everton is also in Liverpool.
Okay.
Their stadiums are literally across the river from one another. You can see the stadium from the other stadium.
Nice.
And so it's, an intertown rivalry, essentially.
Okay.
So it's kind of a big deal. Liverpool usually wins because Everton is as what's his name from the Men in Blazers podcast. He refers to Everton as a 501(c)(3). They just donate wins to the teams that need it.
That's a very, very nice of them.
That's pretty good.
Good lads.
Yeah.
Well, we should talk about cars.
Oh.
On the Campfire Passport podcast?
Hey,
up top.
All right,
Like
Mike.
Nice, Mike.
I had one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let me back up. We have a main topic,
Yes.
which is nice. It's like the return of the main topic, it feels like.
Okay.
I'm really pumped up about the main topic. With an asterisk that I did not do all the homework. So, but here we are. I'll get there.
Of course you didn't.
I did the homework, but I realized I'm not good at it.
That's good.
So,
well, I
found it incredibly easy.
Oh, that's good. I think that's a good sign.
This week on the podcast.
I had a list of 8, and I had to get rid of some.
Wow.
I even have an honorable mention on here.
OLI.
What?
Oh my God! How do you guys still not remember this?
OLI?
OLI.
'Cause I think you're the
Outside
only-
looking in.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Oh,
It's outside the top 5,
Yeah.
looking in.
looking in.
OLI.
Yeah.
But what if it's looking
So you
away?
can mention all of them when we get there.
Okay.
What about
Yeah.
OLA? What if it was on the outside looking away?
Why would it look away?
Well, why would it be looking
They
in?
want to look into the list because they want to be in the list.
That's right.
What if they're
They
hipsters?
want into the list.
Oh my God.
The whole point is to be outside. I don't know.
But in wanting to be outside, they're on the inside.
Yeah.
Usually, when it comes to hipsters.
Yeah, you don't see them outside very much.
They're inside getting their white skin whiter.
It's all their outdoor gear to keep them warm inside.
We can bring Willis in and find out.
I think he's like aged through hipster at this point. I was thinking, as soon as you said that, I was like, I don't know anymore. He's like on the other end of it.
I don't know. Still,
We'll see.
him and that crowd are still pretty hipstery to me.
All right. Well, I sent everybody a Drive article that I thought was pretty interesting, and then I broke the news that I didn't read
He proceeded to not read it.
But I have since read the article.
All the rest of
Okay,
us
wow,
did it.
look
Yeah.
at you.
Okay.
So the headline is Jeep owner calls out off-road park for mangling his broken XJ during trail recovery. And I'm going to share screen with, I know you've seen it, but I just want to share screen so that
Let's get some picture reference
we
on
can
that.
see what this thing looks like.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty great.
It's pretty solid
Look at it.
destruction. Yeah.
Um,
It seems like you could have done better.
I mean, that's a recovery.
Yeah, it was a recovery.
Yeah.
So the story basically goes that someone who goes to this off-road park frequently let his son take the Jeep to the off-road park. Son broke it, I think is what happened, or got
Lost
stuck.
a wheel.
Or got lost a wheel. Dana 30 problems, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Sheared
lost a
an
wheel.
axle,
Yep.
lost it out.
And the off-road park apparently decided to recover the vehicle. Maybe the son asked. Maybe
At
they
request.
offered. It was
Yeah.
Was that
The thing I
request?
saw was
The
that it was
son- the
per
son asked.
request.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And wasn't the wordage "do whatever you have to"?
Oh, that makes
I
that
think
makes
is
sense.
what
And-
is how they've termed it.
And the last quote from the park said that he told us that they were going to cut the top off and cage it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
I that may be true.
However, I also see the
Yes.
point. Yeah.
That picture's pretty rough, but then when you look at what happened,
Do you see what it was before? The way it looked
yeah,
before
pretty
that?
okay.
Yeah.
This is pretty bad though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically what happens is, if you can't see this, obviously they took a what do you call those things?
A heister,
Forklift?
It's not a regular fork, a
Telehandler.
boom lift or a telehandler.
telehandler. There you
Yeah,
go.
telehandler.
Yeah.
Is it boom lift another way to say that? Am I?
No,
Crazy.
boom lift is an aerial work platform.
Yeah,
So that's
Okay.
for like
standing on,
Okay.
not for lifting stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
So they stuck this thing through the door holes.
The window holes.
window holes, and they
So-
just picked it up by the roof. But the forks, they said they couldn't do it from underneath because the forks weren't long enough, and obviously they also weren't long enough to get the entire top because
Mhm.
Yeah.
it ripped through the roof, basically above where the passengers' heads are. What
And
were you going to say, Jesse?
I do want to note in this photo, you can see the windows are down.
Yeah, that's good.
So it was intentional for the forks to go through there. He wasn't
Well-
trying to be malicious.
Maybe, but apparently
also
they
two
broke
broken out
all the
windows.
glass.
Yeah.
They broke every piece of glass on it. According
Yeah.
to the article, the dad said that only the back glass was broken. The rest of it was all intact, and they somehow broke every other piece of glass, as far as what he was quoted saying, on the Jeep. And I don't know how you do that. If they're down and you slid into the doors, which it looks like they did, judging by all that dent work,
Yeah.
But how did they break the back glass out? Was it just the top moving so much that it shattered?
I think it's the way that
Probably
the body hit the boom itself or the forks, because that crease right at the back door, that's obviously what blew out the back window, I think.
Yeah. That makes sense there now that you show that again.
Gnarly.
And it's like, you got to think that those telehandlers don't have suspension on them.
Correct.
And if you're driving it down a off-road bumpy road with something on the forks, that thing is just shaking all around.
Yeah. I mean, there's somebody that like there's a note in here about like somebody saying that the person, it was in the comments, someone said that like the person that recovers the vehicles out of there is like great and blah blah blah, and I'm sure he is, like, whatever, that's fine. But I just don't know how anybody would have picked that Jeep up in that way and thought it was going to be okay. There's probably 5 other ways you could have done that.
You hook a chain and pull it.
Sure, that was exactly what I was saying.
I think a lot of it is wrong tool choice for the job. But when the verbiage is do whatever you have to, it kind of leaves that like
have to,
like, but that kind of leaves the door open for someone to just be like, well, the easiest way for me to do it, would to just take the telehandler down there, pick it up, and drive the telehandler back out. Yeah, like rather than going through the effort of like actually, attempting to make a clean save.
Yeah.
I would like to know how old this kid is.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I would assume.
I feel like this kid potentially could be young and, yeah, whatever, great. Let's just pick it up like this. It'll make great content. Or just being
the kid
young
had nothing
and
to
dumb.
do with the recovery.
Yeah, he wasn't even there during the recovery.
He wasn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was under the impression that he was there at the recovery.
No, but the way I agree that do whatever you have to get it out is, in like, some damage can happen. I'm not really thinking that, but to put the forks through the roof and break all the glass out, and there are other options before complete and total destruction of the vehicle.
Yes.
You could even use the forks as a way to lift up. You could wrap a chain around the back axle and pick
axle,
it. Yeah,
lift it up from the rear axle and have somebody steer it as you're pushing it out. Like, there was a lot of options that it did seem kind of hasty.
Yeah,
but the way that it was handled.
And I'll throw my last caveat on that is, once you say do whatever, we're going to cage it, don't worry about it, then at that point they're absolved from any actual liability, though, in my opinion. You can't be like, give her the beans, and then when it gets the beans, be mad about the beans. Beans.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know what my full opinion is because I don't know the whole story, right? Like that. Yeah. That's kind of the thing, but. Man, that Jeep's messed up. I know that.
As someone who's cut the top off of a Jeep before, it's not great.
Yeah. There's not a lot of coming back from that one.
Nope, it's kind of permanent. It happens, and it's done.
Well, it definitely seemed like there was a lot of he said, she said.
Yeah. Well, the comments, like by the place, they're not good. Like, I understand that they're being thrown under the bus by this person, like, and it's gotten onto the internet, but like, self-respecting business owner says things like, what does it say? From this day forward, if you break or need help getting your rig out of the park, you are on your own, with an exclamation point. Like, I understand that that's like the sentiment of that is fine, but it's just not. Like, this is not a good look. Like,
yeah, we can make policy based off of this, but just to be like, okay, well, if you don't want us destroying all your stuff and totally ruining it, then we're not going to help you.
You can't play in my sandbox anymore.
Like, I don't know.
You can't let one turd in the punch bowl ruin the whole thing.
Yeah. Actually, it does. If you have turds in your punch, I will not drink any of your punch, no matter what you do.
I mean, even one.
I don't even care if you remove it. I don't care how many there are.
Mike, I'm going to apologize right now. I'm sorry about the last time you ate punch.
Yeah.
Or drank punch.
One of the things that this reminds me of, though, is that Frontier that was broken down on the Rubicon when we were there.
Yeah.
And then Matt's Off-Road Recovery when recovered it. And that truck received some damage on the way out because of how it had to be recovered also.
Sure.
So obviously there is some absolution of the people that are recovering it.
Absolutely.
In saying, like, look, this is a more difficult task than most people can handle, as noted obvious.
Yep.
So if something is to happen to the truck, we can't be held responsible fully.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
They have to go into it knowing.
But they have, and
right. But this is also a off-road park.
There is liability insurance for negligence, though. Because if Matt's off-road recovery were to pick it up by the roof and throw it off the cliff and then say, oh, well, my bad, and they got it on video, then they would still be liable.
Yeah.
And I think that there is a line there. But I also am sure that the guy with the Nissan was like, do whatever you have to get it out. I would appreciate it if you take as good a care of it as possible.
Yeah.
That's one thing. The kid was like, do whatever you have to get it out. Don't worry about it. We're going to cut the top off. Okay. But also, there should be some implied, like, it's my dad's Jeep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't actually get to tell you to destroy it on the way out.
Gross negligence.
Yeah. Let's not stab it. Let's not stab it with a multi-ton vehicle and hope for the best.
I think the dad could probably point a little more of his anger at his son, a little less at the park. I think there's a little,
maybe
bit.
a little towards himself too for allowing that to happen. I mean, maybe he couldn't have known, or maybe it just happened without. He still loaned it out, I guess, is kind of what I'm getting at. And that's just sometimes that's the price you pay.
Well, my dad learned that years later after loaning my brother his Jeep. So, did you guys ever hear that story about how Matt ran into a rock with my dad's YJ?
Mm-mm. Vaguely remember this.
Bent the axle backwards, destroyed a front leaf pack, did some other stuff, and according to Matt, he was driving down his buddy's driveway, and it was slick, and he slid off and hit a rock, and that was that. So my parents bought the parts. I fixed a lot of it. My dad fixed a lot of it, and we got it all back on the road. My brother drove the Jeep again for the rest of high school. And years later, my brother is now a sheriff's deputy and explained to them, oh, no, I forgot to tell you guys. The real truth behind that is we jumped it. We took it out.
Statute of limitations is up.
Purposely jumped it, and it came down and bent everything. And so I can also understand how that guy would probably feel about his son borrowing the Jeep.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
Well, I was too terrified of my dad to ruin my Toyota.
Ruin your own car.
Yeah. I had to buy my own rig.
Oh, yeah.
My brother was given a Jeep, and I had to buy my own truck.
Yeah. I have a very vivid memory of I threw a rod and threw it out the side of the block, and it was right before Reed Market roundabout had gotten fixed or finished to where you could go down to Bill Healy Bridge. And as I was coming up out of the old mill, my rod threw out the side of the block, motor done. I pull off onto the side and I call my dad. I was like, Dad, motor's done. And he just immediately started yelling at me over the phone. Well, what did you do? You were slamming it. You were being mean to the truck.
You're hot rodding it, weren't you, boy?
Yeah. And so he comes flying down the hill in his F-150 and throws a chain, like a hunk of like 20 feet of chain at me, expecting me to catch it and start like wrapping up the truck. The whole time he's yelling at me, and I'm watching all these kids from high school that I go to school with just driving by as my dad is just screaming at me. God. And we got it towed home and I fixed it. But
yeah, I think we've all had things like that in our early car histories, because I know that I lost fifth gear in my first car, and I got I was given the 10th degree or whatever the saying is about that, and it literally, I was just driving home from school, regular roads, regular driving, put it in fifth. I was in fifth driving, and then all of a sudden, just no fifth at all.
Third degree.
So go into fourth.
Just took me a second.
Goes fine. Go back into fifth. Nothing's there. Just absolutely nothing there.
Gone.
So
Yard
yeah.
sale.
So then I get the, everything, the business about how I drive and all this, and it's just no. The fifth gear was previously damaged or whatever, and it literally just fell off because it was on it's like on the end of a shaft. It's its own thing in that transmission, and it just fell off. It literally just fell off.
See,
Fifth gear left the chat.
I had a different situation. I was driving my parents' truck back from like the Milliken area, and it was a 67 or a 68 Ford F-250 camper special, 2-wheel drive truck with a big block 428, and it was a good little truck. We thought it was a 390, and I thought, I wonder if this thing will do 75, and it will, and then it won't. So I spun every bearing and got it pulled off the side, called my parents. They said, okay, well, we got AAA for a reason. And so AAA came out and picked the truck up. And when I got home, I had $1,200 already out of my bank account because my dad was a co-signer on my bank account. And he said, I'm glad you bought the truck. And I said, oh. And he's like, it is your truck now. You can go ahead and fix that and do whatever you want with it. And I was like, okay. So I just purchased the problem. I did never cause a problem to somebody else. And they never brought it up again. Huh. I pulled that motor. I rebuilt it in high school, and it was going to go in a Mustang I had, but it never finished putting that together. Yeah.
How about you, Sean?
I don't really have any of those stories. Well,
he was a good boy when he was growing up.
Sure. Some of that, some single parent time,
yeah.
And some step parent time. There's not so much with cars, not so much any issues with cars. I did put a rod through the block of my MR2, and I was not just casually driving up a hill. I was aggressively leaving a small donut that I had just done.
Oh, of course.
And it had already previously been ticky, and I couldn't figure out what the tick was.
Did you figure
out what that was?
It was a timer.
Yeah. But no one yelled at me because I bought it and I broke it, and I don't even remember what the next car I had was. But I bought another car eventually, which
rather than fix an MR2.
Yeah, I probably should have fixed it. They were worth absolutely nothing then.
Oh yeah,
and they're not worth a ton
gen?
Now. It was a first gen AW11,
Mm-hmm.
but I still kind of like wish I had it for like an autocross car or something. It was fun. It was a great car, but it blew up pretty bad. Too bad. I think think my mom ended up paying for the tow bill, and I don't think she was super stoked about that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
No AAA.
Yeah. Turns out AAA is worthwhile.
At least you didn't get a 20 feet hunk of chain thrown at you.
No. Nope. No, that did not happen.
In my dad's defense in that, it wasn't my fault at the time I wasn't hot rodding. But before that, about 6 months prior, I was out doing some mudding and sucked some water into the motor. And fortunately, I had my wits about me and got the water out before I moved it. But still, during that, drowning, I stress fractured one of the rods.
Mm-hmm.
So it was my fault.
Of course it was your fault.
At least you can admit it.
Yeah, every damage to every car is the fault of the person driving it when it happens. I think that's just an unwritten rule.
Pretty close, yeah.
And unless there's a catastrophic issue that everybody knows about, if you touched it last, that's kind of the way it goes.
There could be
in cars.
A pre-existing damage excuse,
right?
But
you touched it last.
Is technically your hands.
Yeah.
So speaking of vehicles that were formative for
our do the transition. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna go ahead and do our top 5 vehicles that were, how to put this, our biggest influences on how we are car people today, from the movies, TV, that sort of stuff.
Okay. Cool. So we're doing top 5. We're going 5 to 1.
5 to 1, of course,
Okay.
per the usual. Outside looking in can be
Okay.
before your number 5.
Okay. Oh, before. Okay.
Yeah, because that's outside looking in.
Yeah, I got it. I didn't really think about it from that angle. Okay. Let me do some math real quick while you're talking.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, should we just have Mike start? Since we'll come back to you.
Oh, yeah, because
you last.
All right,
so
that's fair.
We're going to do our looking in and our 5s first.
Yeah, so Mike can go ahead and give his outside looking ins if he has any.
So my outside looking in is the one thing that I remember about movies from when I was a kid, early 90s movies, etc. A lot of the cars were boring. That's a thing that I remember a ton of. All the baddies had like these brown old Cadillacs from the 70s and 80s, and all the cars driving around were all these. And I always remembered like this hero car, and I'm sure it was on purpose. This hero car was beautiful and shiny and an interesting color and this or that. But all the rest of the cars in those movies were just like, wow. We have a lot of, it was the gas crisis and all these reasons. I get it. But from my childhood, that was the thing that I remember. So that's my outside looking in. My number 5, Cadillac from Ghostbusters. That wagon was rad in its own way, in its movie magic way. I was a kid when I watched the Ghostbusters the first time. Giant Marshmallow Man, super rad. But that Cadillac doing a burnout, coming out of the fire station that they'd used as their hideout, and I was like, big old cars can be rad. That stuck with me for a long time. Yep. Nice. It's like too long and it's too weird looking from almost every angle.
Mm-hmm.
But
it is an odd looking car, no matter how you look at it.
It had to have like a 500 big block because it would slide around every corner, smoke bellowing out from it.
That also could be some movie magic.
Yeah, it's movie magic. I'm certain.
Yeah.
In the universe it's in, as a child, I knew that you can overcome weight and size with power.
Yeah.
And it was also like some sort of science powered thing anyway. But yeah.
Egon put a 500 big block.
I'm certain of it, right? So. That guy did nothing half-assed.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go next. So I have a couple of outside looking ins, because I just do. How about that? So my first outside looking in, mainly because it was kind of the first movie that my dad introduced me to the car scene with. And so it is the 1950 Ford that Robert Mitchum drives in Thunder Road.
Yep.
That was like kind of a hot rodding staple was the 50 Ford, and that was it forever has been one of my favorite body styles is 49 and 50 Ford. I've always loved those.
Yeah.
My second outside looking in, just because it just couldn't make it on the list with the rest of my list, is another hot rod. As you can imagine, thanks to my father, once again. American Graffiti's 32 Ford Roadster. Well, I guess it's not a Roadster, but because it's not convertible. But that was like the, street rod, traditional street rod type deal that formed a bit of the style and the liking of style, certain particular styles of cars. So,
I can see that, especially with your old Bug that you had. Like,
traditional hot rods are kind of a big deal for me.
I can see that a lot.
That American Graffiti car is like, that's on my outside looking in for sure.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Yeah. Okay.
That was proper.
So my true number 5 is now let me make sure I get this right, because it's a very long. So it is a Triumph Trophy TR6. Lauren will know exactly what I'm talking about, because it is the Great Escape motorcycle that McQueen rides and jumps over a fucking fence and all that. And so that really formed a lot of just aura for me. Lot, I mean, some of it was Steve McQueen, I'm sure, because he's an aura guy. But that also kind of gave me the like of motorcycles, even though I've never owned one and never fucking ridden one. But I have a great respect for motorcycle culture and building motorcycles and things like that. So that's my number 5 is that Triumph motorcycle.
If you ever want to, you can borrow Miles's motorcycle. It's a 50.
You get to learn it on that little thing.
It's pretty safe. You can run it around. It's got plenty of go. Yeah.
Okay, so Jesse, why don't you give us your outside looking in and/or 5, and then we'll get Sean in here.
Okay, so one thing I want to say before my honorable mention is I'm curious if any one of us have a overlapping.
I guarantee that at least you and I do, because I'm pretty sure we've talked about it before.
Yep. There's one in there that I think that you and I do, definitely, Colin. Yeah. And there's one in there that I think Sean and I have.
Okay.
Mike, and I don't know. So
probably not.
Mike's the wild card. Who knows?
You ever seen Fern Gully, that giant tractor? I'm kidding.
So my honorable mention is actually a quote to start. So it's the Rolls-Royce Phantom 2 4.3 liter, 30 horsepower, 6-cylinder engine with the Stromberg downdraft carburetor. Can go 0 to 60 in 100 kilometers an hour. Sorry, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 12.5 seconds, and I even like the color. That is my honorable mention. I love that scene. I love that movie, and it's just so iconic. So that's my honorable mention.
Okay.
I'm trying to think about which way I want to go about this, but I think that my number 5 is going to be from the movie Ronin. It's a 1998 Audi S8 D2 Quattro.
Oh yeah, that is an iconic version of that car too.
Yeah, that movie honestly is what sold me on European vehicles, because I didn't see it until I was probably about, 19, 20 years old. So I was a little bit older and I wasn't really into cars at that point in time. But after watching Ronin and seeing all the Citroens, the Mercedes, and it's but that Audi is so badass. And yep, there it is. That's the iconic scene between the Audi and the Citroen. And I even like the color.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that is a good one. That's a cool Audi to like as well.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
That's a dream car. And it's specifically it's got to be the same color. It's because of that movie, and also it's one of my favorite movies because it has one of my favorite lines in it as well. It's when Sean Bean's character looks at Robert De Niro and says, "Have you ever killed anybody?" And Robert De Niro, without changing face, just looks at him and goes, "No, but I've hurt somebody's feelings."
That's great.
So that's my number 5 and honorable mention.
Okay.
I like it.
All right, Sean.
All right, I came up with a few honorable mentions, and I think I might have added to my list while I was sitting here because I thought of a couple of things. So sorry, but these are just honorable mentions. I think that the first one is Bond cars as a whole.
Okay,
right?
Yeah,
I just can't pick one. I think they're such an iconic part of those cars. I think the DB5 is probably the one. But they're just great. Even the later ones are awesome. It's just such cool. When you think about cars in movies, to me, you don't even have to like the movies. They're great cars. So.
Yeah.
Well, and they play a part in the movies.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Other runner-ups include Ferris Bueller, the 250 GT California, or California. No, GT California. Yeah, 250 GT California Ferrari. Come on.
You got to drive it in reverse to try and get the miles off.
The car is a replica. Which I didn't think we were doing motorcycles, so I added this one last minute.
Yeah, I said vehicles.
Yeah, you did.
I put it wide.
So Easy Rider choppers, both of them, but the American
both
flag tank one, that's a good bike. And then my real outside looking in, which was the first one I picked, which I think might make it on someone else's list. I don't know if this is the one Jesse thinks that we share, but maybe it's the Marty McFly Toyota. Like,
Oh, yeah.
That is like, it's such a cool truck. I love it. But it didn't I don't think it actually, I don't want to say shaped me as a car enthusiast like these other ones might have, but I didn't remember it iconically right away. Some of these cars, I was like, "Oh, this."
Well, it's because the DeLorean is the star of that movie,
exactly.
And
yeah.
So you don't really
care
think
about that,
the next truck. Yeah.
I want to go into my fifth one here by saying I've realized I have a really eclectic list, and
so do I.
I can't tell what it says about me, but we're gonna
start
start
a Porsche Cayenne from some sort of Christmas
from right down the street.
Christmas rom-com.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I love romantic comedies. If I could go and we could just do a romantic comedy car episode. There's a couple good ones. None of them on my list, but
okay.
So number 5, the all the cars, but specifically the '64 Impala convertible that is in the Nothing But a G Thing video. Because I love that entire scene where they roll up on the park and they've got all the cars and they're hopping, and oh my gosh, it's just there's I think it's silver. That's
really good. That's really good, Sean. I like that one.
It's a really good one, and so I'm just gonna leave it at that. That's the one. I love it. That's number 5.
Shaped you.
It did.
Yeah, it's fair.
If I think of a lowrider, by the way, those cars are what I think of every single time.
And I gotta go back.
Yeah,
it's
that's why they call them the Lolo,
or like a Caprice.
Yeah, well, to me, I know G-body cars are synonymous with lowriders too, and people really love them, and I'm coming around on them now, but not, Sean of more than 30 years ago when this video came out. I was just like, whoa, that is so cool.
Well, and I'm gonna go back to your Marty McFly moment. Because DeLorean from 3, when it had those red Steelies, and that's the car.
Western theme.
That was almost on my outside looking in. And I was like, it's getting really specific. It's not just the DeLorean. But specifically that one. It mattered a lot to me.
All right.
I threw my phone again as per normal. It just slipped off my lap, but it did hit hard.
I did have one more honorable mention I forgot.
Okay.
But it's the AE86 from Initial D.
Oh. Damn, I can't believe I forgot that one. That's
I forgot that I wanted to put that on my list. So
thanks to you, you have reminded me also, and it may be on somebody else's list, Denzel's car in Training Day.
That is a good
one. That's an
so
outside
good.
looking in for me as well, because that thing is the shit.
Dude, that's so good.
Yeah, I'll even honorable mention the Bad Boys Porsche. That I didn't know anything about anything, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool for a cop to drive a cool car."
Yeah.
I hope I didn't ruin anybody's list.
No. What's your number 4?
Number 4. That's easy. This is a movie that I watched scenes from, as soon as the internet was a thing, over and over again, because I didn't want to watch the whole movie anymore. But it was the Mustang from Bullitt. It's just such an iconic chase to have that big Dodge chasing that beautiful green Mustang through San Francisco, doing ridiculous things. They're jumping 90 feet, vertically because the street falls away from them, and they're doing all these other things, and it's, for me, that car, if I was gonna build my perfect dream Mustang on my own and I was able to get unlimited budget, it's that. That's the car.
Well, your unlimited budget is $3.7 million.
You can just buy it. You don't even have to build
it. That's fine. It's never gonna be a thing that I will have, not a real one, and I never will even have a fake one. But that's on that this reminds me of, this was a poster I had on my wall.
Yeah.
There's this and that other Mustang, but this one in my car stuff, I was like, that's the one I would want to own the most.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it shaped my car stuff the most, but it was the one that I was like, that's just too cool.
Yeah. Became the dream.
Yeah. It's a gold standard in building a 60s Mustang, in my opinion.
And again,
understated.
McQueen and his aura.
He's just he's too cool.
He was too cool, man.
He was too cool.
All right, so my number 4 is I'm going to go pretty close to Jesse's number 5.
Oh, I know what it is then.
Do you?
I think.
It is the Transporter.
Yeah.
Oh,
big body
nice.
A8 W12.
that's my number
D3.
3. That's my number 3.
That thing is they again, like the Bond comment, they made that car a character.
Yeah,
that car
part of
is
the movie.
the character in the movie.
Oh yeah,
And it makes the movie. Like
Yeah.
it was such a weird car for the time.
Yeah.
And like a W12, what are you even talking about, Audi? Like that's the craziest idea you could ever come up with. And I think that what that did for me was solidify my large chassis Audi, like even the newer large chassis Audis, I like them.
Because you were probably Volkswagen Audi curious at a minimum at that point. So
Yes.
that car, you were like, whoa. Because you're used to seeing like the Bond car or like whatever, or like the Bullitt Mustang, whatever. We've all seen these American cars. And if you're into Euro cars and that comes out, all of a sudden you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know what's? Does anybody remember what the car was in Transporter 1?
That.
No, it wasn't. It was
Yes,
a
it
BMW.
is. No.
That's Transporter 2.
No. Incorrect.
The hero car.
It starts.
He starts with a BMW.
He starts with a BMW,
like a
wrecks
7 Series.
it,
Yep.
and then this car comes in.
That's what I'm saying though. Like nobody remembers the first car. I didn't remember it until I looked
But it's
it up.
still Transporter
this car,
1.
right? But
It's just
this
the
car-
second car in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this
yes,
car is the
he
car that is the
starts-
movie. The first
yeah.
one was like the
he
7
starts
Series.
with a big 7 Series.
Yeah, but I didn't remember that until I looked back through this, and they're like,
Mhm.
"Do you mean the first car in it or the second one in it?"
Yeah.
And then it goes to like an S8, but it still stays those big, beautiful
it's
black
big body
Audis.
Audis.
Yeah, that's my number 3. So that's why I was like, no, I know some stuff about this because I was like, man, because I was not Euro curious at all.
You're curious.
That came later in life for Mike.
I know. I learned who I was longer.
Yeah.
And then I got out of it.
Mhm.
I got it out of my system. It was a phase. But that started my like, whoa, what is that car? Because it's big and leather and comfortable in the back, and everybody thought he was just this driver doing nothing. And then it was like across this intersection sideways, and I was like, oh,
Okay.
wow, okay.
Yeah. So Jesse's 4?
Yeah, Jesse, what do you got for 4?
I got the Jeep Gladiator from Tremors.
Oh.
I don't
That-
even.
That old beat up piece of shit. So yeah, I'll let Colin pull it up. Because that truck really kind of, speaks to my redneck side, which actually you're going to
Yes, it
find a
does.
lot of that. You're going to find a lot of that in my influential vehicles here.
Oh, I know that. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's a dope truck.
Yeah.
It's a, not apocalypse truck because it's not an apocalypse movie, but it's like a trying times fighting a
Giant
some
worm.
sort of
worm.
worm. Yeah, fighting this weird evil enemy, and it makes it through the movie.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that.
Okay, Sean.
Okay, so speaking of redneck stuff, I have picked the most redneck thing of all for number 4.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Yeah.
Beep, 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 beep,
Yep,
beep,
it
beep,
is.
beep, beep.
It
Oh,
is. Now,
God.
I gotta say, there is a part of me that cringes a little bit that it is so iconic to me, but it is. I also don't think that its livery has aged well, and I just feel
That
a
is correct.
social responsibility to say that.
You don't say.
But in the era, I didn't understand what that meant. I just thought it had stuff on it. And
That just means the South.
Yep, that's pretty much what I thought.
That's all that means, right?
And the show, it was fine. There's hound dogs and cars jumping and a big fat guy in a Cadillac, so like it was pretty okay. But that car, like,
And Daisy
I don't even
Dukes.
like Chargers. I do not care about them
No.
at all. But the General Lee is a car that I think like just made me go, whoa, like you could drive a car on dirt. That was like the first thing, because I had no idea rally was a thing at this point. Because I'm 5 years old watching reruns on TNN or something, and like, whoa, it was mind blowing. So, it's not even like, it's not like the Bullet Mustang. Like I would never own one.
Yeah,
it's just iconic, and I think it did like somehow, some way shape. One of the things that I like about,
it's car history. Yeah.
One thing I like about cars, and I think we've all had this discussion before, I think a race car with a plate is like one of the coolest things ever, right?
Oh yeah.
And then generally with its like welded shut doors and its roll cage, like I think
Kind
that
of
planted, kind of planted that seed a little bit. It's like a circle track car that they're driving on the street.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's
I like it. I think it deserved to be on somebody's list, at least.
I would be surprised if it made on no one else's, but if it didn't,
It wasn't on mine because I didn't watch any of that stuff young.
Same.
I didn't. I
see.
only saw the stuff later on, and I have something else in a similar vein that I did watch when I was young. That's my number 2 because I already did my number 1.
Well, no, you did your number 3, so we're just skipping you. It's my turn.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So and that's what we should do. But I'll get to there in a minute. And actually, I'm going back and forth. It's probably my number 1, but
okay. Well, so my number 2, very again close to Jesse's comment.
oh man,
Initial D.
oh yeah,
Takahashi's FC.
Yeah,
that car. I'll honorable mention the 86 because obviously that is another
It's the
car
hero.
history thing.
yeah.
But Takahashi's FC was, for me, like style and aggressive driving. Like that was that kind of in my brain, those two things clicked with that car because it is a very of the time stylistically for an FC. And then on top of that, it's a drifting show, So
yeah.
I remember
it just has this look and it's driven hard. Like that's quintessential for that type of car.
I remember when I was younger and they did like a shot of the tack. And I was like, haha, no way. It's like 12,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's ridiculous. That's like Dragon Ball Z when they're like, it's over 9,000. I was like, you bet. Somebody. Okay. And then like,
in this
realizing
case,
later
it's
on.
actually
yeah,
true.
I know. Yeah, later on when I realized like, oh shit, that is a real thing that cars can really do. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Sean.
Doesn't Jesse do his third first before me?
Yeah.
That's true.
Can't forget about Jesse.
Can't forget Jesse.
Unless
Well, no, because
picked
Jesse just did. Well, it's just it went too fast.
Mm.
No, because it's 3.
I hear that all the
you
time.
haven't done your 3.
Yeah, I haven't done my third, but
Yeah.
I've only
Jesse's-
done 2.
Oh,
yeah, Jesse's
okay.
We're on the same
Yeah.
page.
Man, we're
Don't
going.
worry about it.
Skipping Mike has fucked me up.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We had the same.
We had the
We had the
same
same
car on
car,
the
which
list, but-
I think if you'd have put that on your bingo this year, you'd have been surprised. Colin and I had the same
That's
car
fair.
on a list. I was not prepared for that.
All right, Jesse.
All right. My next one is Back to the Future 85 Toyota.
Oh, the
Oh,
turn.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's just a very quintessential vehicle in my life. I mean, I had one. I still have it.
You still
So-
have one.
I was gonna say, I think you still have one too.
And
You also have
Mine-
never had a white Tacoma, though.
Not once.
Nope. Never. But mine actually used to be black, just like the one from Back to the Future.
From
Black to the
Black
Future.
to the
Black to the
Future.
Future. Come on.
Almost. Sorry.
Yeah.
Dyslexia.
Freudian
Word
slip.
hard. So,
Jesse, I hope you get more redneck on your number 2 because my number 3 is almost as redneck as my number 4.
Okay, let's hear it.
It is the Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am.
Of course, yes.
oh my
Speaking
God,
of
that was on
muscle
my
cars
list.
and hound dogs.
That's
So that's
that
my
is
number
another,
1.
That's another one that's just out of my
Yeah.
list because it didn't form my like. I didn't view it as one that like forms my taste or my style or anything like that. But I do love that vehicle.
I think it might just be my favorite like car movie vehicle.
It's another aura.
Yeah.
It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite car
It's got a
movies.
vibe.
It's got a
Yeah.
vibe, just like just like the driver has a vibe.
Yeah.
Like that
Mhm.
is
And it was well paired. It was
Mhm.
another movie where the car was part of the movie. It
Mhm.
was playing a part. So that's my number one.
Oh man.
Which is why I was telling you, like, I had a similar vehicle as your, General Lee, but it's not. Mm-hmm. It does the same kind of stunts, but that one I watched with my dad when I was a kid, and I watched it with Miles recently. You have to fast forward through a lot of parts because there's certain things that are not kid friendly, but a lot of it is.
He wouldn't get it anyway.
Yeah.
So
you'd be surprised. Now.
We watched it, and Miles asks to watch it all the time now because it's just this like over the top wild movie, and there's a hound dog, and there's truck full of beer, and it's all kinds of fun, like, but I love that movie, and I love that my dad shared it with me, and I shared it with my boy, and it's been a passed on kind of thing. But that car,
it's a good one.
That's another one. I'd probably, if somebody offered me that or the Bullet Mustang, I would take the Bullet Mustang because I'm not dumb about costs and values in things.
But you'd regret that you didn't get that.
I'd take the Smokey and the Bandit car.
I think about
7 days a week
card
on that.
I think about it a lot.
Wouldn't even hesitate.
I love that Bullet Mustang. Yeah. So I hear what you're saying, but I would think about it a lot.
I think I might too. As much as I'm not that era of car liker, and I'm more a Ford guy than I am other things, I still think I would do that car.
The T-top.
To me, that car seems more obtainable to me in real life, too. It
obviously is, yeah.
So that's the other difference. But man,
and also, I mean, come on. You got Jerry Reed singing your theme song.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking.
It doesn't get much better.
Okay, Mike, what's your number 2?
Well, my number 2, which is my last one to say because it's the last one I have, is the 48 Ford in Grease, the Greased Lightning, White Lightning car. It was the first movie where I saw street racing.
Yeah.
It was the first time I saw a movie where they were, they built a car, they took it down to the LA, what do you call that? The river.
It's not the river.
LA River.
It's called the river.
Literally the LA River.
What do you call it's the canal or the conduit that it's in.
It's called the LA River.
It's ridiculous, and they're jumping through water and doing all kinds of dumb stuff. But it was the first movie I saw where there was street racing, and I was like, if you put a lot of hard work into a car, because that was the whole thing. The car came to the group just destroyed.
Yep.
And they built it, and they put a lot of work into it, and they made it this thing, and then they took it racing. And then at the end of the movie, either they died and it took him to heaven, which is one of the theories, or they taught it to fly. Either way, this movie ends super weird.
It gets totally rebuilt into a weird thing. But.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that car, as a kid, I was like, oh, you can be the poor school with the poor guys building the poor car and still win races because you did more work and you built it better.
Hilarious how close I am to all of you. I have just the slightly different vehicle from the same things, because for me it was the Mercury. Because it was like, again, the street racing thing, but also this was the cool car. Like, this was the badasses.
Yeah.
Like
the flames on the side.
The Grease gang were kind of like the softies. They were a car gang, but they were softies.
Yeah.
Where this guy, Craterface, he was just plain a badass. Like, that is what he was. His car was badass. Also, first car I ever saw with flamethrowers.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that
was
cool.
That in my head was stuck forever. That wait, my exhaust could purposefully shoot flames.
This is and he had the spikes.
That was a big deal.
His hubcaps.
Yeah, the hubcaps with the spikes
that
somehow could cut down the side of another
Ford
car.
Door, yeah.
He was ahead of Houston car culture before they got to it.
That thing for me, like that again, hot rod culture was like that one got me. So
that's a good one.
Yeah. So that's my number 2.
Oh, nice.
That's funny. For me, the Grease cars were my outside of the outside looking in, but they were there.
Yeah.
I think that's the second most, like in all reality, I had to figure out other things. I had the Smokey and the Bandit car, and then I almost put the truck that Peter built in there, but I didn't.
That's pretty cool.
And then I had the grease car, and those two came to me right away. And then everything else I had to go, okay, well, let's really think about this, and figure this out, and do this and do that. And at one point I was like, well, the Italian Job, the original one when they had the real minis, like that was pretty cool, but it didn't really shape anything. And then, but that car and the Smokey car were that freaking Trans Am with the flaming chicken on the hood and just being rad. That was,
you can't beat it.
No,
you can't.
Neither could Buford T. Justice.
That's right.
Talk about a great villain name.
Yeah.
He is such
Justice in the name of a villain.
Yeah.
And his car got so wrecked. I always forgot about that until I watched it with Miles. That police car, it was an old Dodge, and the door fell off. One of the, went under a bridge or something, and it took the roof off, and it was just destroyed. It was hilarious.
So what's Jesse's number 2?
Okay. We're going with the Suburban from Dante's Peak.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
100%.
God. Yeah.
I almost said the
100%,
boat
yes.
from Dante's Peak.
It is the 87 with it's 87 square body, but it has the double headlights with the snorkel and the grill on it. It's great.
It's a good
And
truck.
it goes through a lava field. It's so great.
Yeah, the tires are on fire. And,
It's so good.
Yep.
Oh, man.
So I'll just give it away now. That was my number 1.
Oh, really?
Because for me, like, because I had only done car stuff up until seeing this movie, and that car got me into 4-wheel drives. Like that car, that movie, because I was like, wait, he's fording a river? And then he even makes comment about how he has a snorkel. These other cars aren't going to make it across the river.
Yeah.
And that just started the gears. And it was like, I mean, that car made everyone that was into 4x4s want a snorkel. Like that movie, you see that and you just want that.
You should share the right screen, though, so I can see it. So I'm looking at the grease car here.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It doesn't have a snorkel.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
But that one's my number 1, so we can skip me on number 1s.
There it is.
I almost jokingly added
there it is.
But it is yeah, I mean, who
I didn't even think
that was into 4-wheel drives didn't think that was like the coolest thing.
Yeah, the thing was sweet. I don't even know if I clocked that it had a snorkel until right now.
They do a river crossing.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, that's like one of the biggest parts of the movie.
Yeah, and like I said, he has a whole monologue while they're fording the river about these other cars trying it, and he's like, "They won't make it. They don't have a snorkel."
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
it's so good.
On a similar vein, I almost put the red Dodge from Twister in my list, except I hate them. I just hate the Ram 1500
well, there's also
in that era.
also a Jeep truck.
There is.
That's the cool car for that.
Yeah, but it wasn't the hero of the movie, and I didn't really think about it a lot. But I hate those trucks so much, I could not put it in the.
I'm thinking about so many other things
that you didn't have
that I didn't even think about, such as Chuck Norris. Walker Texas Ranger with his Ram truck, which I didn't like either. But his buddy had Jesse's number 1 pick, which is a Dodge Stealth, apparently.
Oh no!
No. Okay.
No. All right. Well, then what's Sean's number 2?
My number 2.
Yeah.
No more white trash.
Oh,
it is the Bad Boys 964 Turbo.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Just an iconic car. I really liked Porsches, and Bad Boys came out when I was probably a teenager, right? Like 13 or something.
It was like 96 or
so 12.
It's so good.
So I had I knew what a 911 was when I saw that one, I was like, whoa, these guys are awesome. And kind of like you were saying, like a cop drives it. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was just...
And then I kind of like, just romanticized like the, just how cool that car was. So that is just like an iconic thing for me. I think it's super cool.
Yeah. Once again, so you can get this for less than the Bullet.
The Bullet Mustang?
Mustang. This sold for $2 million.
Hey, Porsche 911, always a performance bargain. Probably would outrun the Bullet Mustang.
Well, not if you're jumping it off of the street in San Francisco.
Maybe. Okay, so
San Francisco, they're in LA.
And also,
No,
that
the
964
Bullet was in San Francisco. Okay.
That 964 is the best of the Bad Boys cars. Like, none of they should have just kept that movie going through all of them. They should have never stopped.
Didn't it come back in the most recent one? Didn't they do like Bad Boys?
It's a different. I think it's a different sport. I didn't watch it, but I'm pretty sure it's a newer 911.
Okay,
I thought it's not this, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some sort of callback.
That means we're back to Jesse for his number one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because that's right. Everybody else went through there.
Because Mike's number one has been talked about. My number one's been talked about. So
okay. So my number one is a little bit what you were starting to talk about, Sean, but it's actually from the movie that started Walker, Texas Ranger. Holy cow! It's called Lone Wolf McQuade, and he has a Dodge Ram Charger in it.
Okay.
And it has a supercharger on it that he pushes a button to start. And he gets knocked out in the movie and buried in his Ram Charger underneath the ground. He wakes up, he reaches in the back seat, grabs a PBR, cracks it, takes a drink, pours it all over his head, hits the supercharger to turn it on because that's how superchargers work.
Of course.
And powers out of this hole in the ground. It is one of the greatest.
Oh my god!
So it must be the same
movie
universe as the last of the V8 Interceptus.
Oh yes, yeah.
Because that also was a switch supercharger.
It was, yeah.
Can turn it on and off.
That's my number one. It is one of my favorite scenes of a car or a truck, a vehicle in a movie. It's when Chuck Norris goes full redneck, pouring PBR on his drunk ass, and powers out of a hole to get out and fight bad guys.
All right.
That's pretty good.
That is good.
All right, Sean, number one.
So full circle on the list.
Full circle.
I was going to push one of these out, and then I decided to keep them both in, and I decided one of them had to be number one. Mm-hmm. It is the 64 Impala from It Was a Good Day. Or Today Was a Good Day. Actually, hold on.
It was a good day. You know what? It was.
It was a good day. Is it a 63?
I did not have to use my AK-47 because it was a good day.
Hold on. I got to make sure it's not 63.
It's a 6.3 Impala, isn't it?
64. Okay. Yeah, 64 Impala. Also a convertible. And like if we're talking about cars that we would want to own from movies, that's the one for sure for me.
Yeah,
it's not a movie, but it's
a music video, but it is from TV
television.
and television and
movies, I had one special shout out that I forgot to give before my second one. I wanted to give a special awareness and shout out to the 79 Trans Am in Joe Dirt driven by Kid Rock.
That's on my, it's right here. I thought about that too.
I mean, it's not on the list because the Smokey and the Bandit car is better.
Yeah.
But man.
I thought that was a Dodge Daytona.
No.
He's talking Trans Am. He's talking about the one that Kid Rock is driving.
Oh,
Robbie.
Not Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
Not Joe Dirt's. Thank you. Okay.
He says, Def Leppard sucks.
Def Leppard sucks.
It's movie gold.
Movie gold.
Another one I thought about. Yeah. Another one I thought about was the Bluesmobile.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Is it cop brakes?
It's a bad car, but a great movie.
Yeah. See, like that's kind of my distinction. Is it's like I get that, like I get the joke of the car, cop this, cop that, cop this, so that they can outrun the police. But it's like it's not a car that like forms any sort of like I love that car. I love that style.
It's what I was talking about first in one of my outside looking ins. It's that bland nobody car that nobody sees and you don't really like it. And it's,
it just doesn't
and I get it.
Doesn't do it for me. Like,
no,
I get
love
the
movie.
joke, but like, and the movie is a classic movie, but
I don't think I could draw that car for you. Actually, I probably could by just drawing car.
I think your son could draw it and everybody knows what it is.
I'm fairly certain it's like a late or a mid to late 70s Dodge. Like
it
is.
Because my uncle had one for a while.
Did
like a retired cop car one.
Did Princess Leia try and blow it up with a RPG?
No.
Not that I remember. Then it wasn't the Blues Brothers car.
No.
Do you remember that? That was like a weird part of the movie in the Blues Brothers. What was her name? Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher was just this chick in the background with no explanation at any point. She blew up a building that they were like leaving, but she was trying to kill them. She tried to hit them with an RPG. Then she tried to like all of these things, and then they just never explain it. Nothing comes of it. It doesn't.
That's great.
There's no punchline. It's just like she's kind of trying to kill them.
And it's a 74 Dodge Monaco.
Okay, there we go. Which probably is like 3 other cars, like a Plymouth Savoy and a something else, a Chrysler Valiant or something.
But it's just a cool car from a movie. So like Colin said, it's not like this influential car. It's just it's an iconic car.
Yeah, and there's a lot of movie in it.
Yeah.
But it didn't do the same thing like the Smoky car or like the Transporter car where it wasn't a character in the movie.
Yeah, sure.
It just was a car they were in during the movie. So I see the difference there.
They had 3 vehicles.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they didn't. They had a 68 Cadillac Fleetwood 60 Special. The Monaco, and they had a Ford LTD Crown Vic.
Okay. The Cadillac was before he went to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was that spread. They were all practically the same.
Yeah.
Giant boat. I have a question then. So cars that are part of the movie, like a character versus something that they're just driving, the Countach from Cannonball Run. That was one that I was like on the outside of my outside list. What do you think? Is that? I think you make an argument that's a character.
I don't know that I would consider it a character. I think it was a big part of the movie, but I don't think it wasn't the personality of the movie. Like if you'd have put a Ferrari in there, if you'd have put whatever, I don't think it would have changed. But if you didn't have a Trans Am, Smokey and the Bandit would have been a different movie.
You think Smokey and the Bandit would have been a different movie with a Camaro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
100%.
gold and black. That gold and black.
To have that
big old chicken.
Yeah, but
the T-top.
Oh, man.
The T-top is what really sold it.
It really did.
A big part of that.
And it made the shots possible that made the movie great.
I mean, how's he going to have his cowboy hat on while he's driving if the T-top's
exactly
thrown off?
Right?
So
true.
When she's changing clothes in the back and the dress is flying everywhere and he's can't see and he's trying to...
Oh, my God.
Like,
yeah.
It's good.
That car had to be that car.
Yeah.
Now, could you do Smokey and the Bandit in a second-gen MR2?
Well, I mean,
T-top.
It would be weird. But...
No back seat, but...
No back seat, but,
I don't think Toyota had the budget for it at the time.
Yeah. I don't think they were interested.
Yeah, probably not.
Stopping a beer run.
Yeah. From Texas to Georgia? Or back? One of them, 2?
I don't remember where it was to and from.
It had to be they went east. Yeah.
It's part of the song. I know that.
There's beer in Texarkana.
Something
in
Atlanta.
So
something
Texas.
in Atlanta.
They're thirsty in Atlanta. They're thirsty in Atlanta. There's beer in Texarkana. We'll bring it back no matter what it takes. So the first part of the movie is they're going to Texas to get the beer. The second part of the movie is they're coming from Texas back to Georgia to deliver the beer. That's what's going on.
There we go.
Okay.
Another random card that I just thought about because I watched the movie last night and I thought to myself, holy shit, that's my Suburban. But the first scene of Christmas Vacation when they're driving down the road.
Yeah.
And that crew cab Dodge pulls up behind him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, is that what people think about me in my truck or my Suburban?
Absolutely.
Anna
All the time.
looks at me like that. She's like, of course that's what they think about you.
There's another iconic movie car in that one. Isn't the woman driving a Ferrari 308, I think?
Oh, Elaine?
No.
Are you
No,
thinking
they
of
have
not Christmas
They have
Vacation?
a Saab.
Are you talking about his neighbor
It's a Saab.
who has a Saab?
No, maybe I'm thinking about...
You might be thinking Vegas Vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're thinking about Vegas Vacation.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because
Mixed together,
Todd and Margot drive a
still a lampoon.
Saab.
Drop Saabs, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're the elite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Snobs and sobs.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it wet, Todd?
I don't know, Margot.
I don't know, Margot.
God, that movie's so good.
It's the
Oh,
best.
man.
Oh,
holiday
speaking of Christmas
movie.
stuff, and I'll bring it back to the cars with decorations.
Oh,
Now
no.
we've switched to the Christmas lights
Of
on
course.
everything. I saw this hilarious, to me, what was absolutely hilarious was a reel or a TikTok or whatever it was. And this guy was like, guys, I put lights on my car and it scratched the shit out of my car. And, blah, blah. And he's like whining up a storm about it and shit because he had put like cord lights all over his fucking car and then drove on like the highway. Shit
Was it
like
the
that.
black TRX?
And so it's just whipping
Yeah,
the car
God.
with the lights over and over and over again. And he caused like
Scratch the hell out of
thousands
it.
upon thousands of dollars of damage to his car. And I was like, yeah, you deserve that.
that happened to I don't
That's
know if it's the same guy.
exactly what should have happened to you.
I don't know if
because
it's the
that
same
is
guy, yeah.
stupid.
There's a black TRX where the guy
I think it was
the
because
same
it's like
guy.
a brand new TRX.
You just look at where the light was, and they like shift
It's
it over a
just
little
this
bit, and it's just
fucking-
like, yeah.
It's
just
Oh
it's
my
called
God.
paint spot.
Yeah, you deserve
It's
that.
probably savable with a good buff and cut, and
In some
No.
spots.
it's fun, but
Some
some
of
of
them,
it's
some
pretty
of them were
rad.
pretty worn through.
yeah,
It's
he
called
had like
Sweet Vindication.
Mm.
he had like scotch tape holding it on. It's not like he was doing.
Yeah, only in some spots though.
Yeah,
Not
not
all of them.
enough. That's for sure.
People that decorate their cars.
Well,
It's
I'm
ridiculous.
going to decorate our car, but only for a minute for a parade. We're going to have the Win car in the
Well, that's different.
That's
Christmas
okay.
parade,
That's
and
different.
we're going
That's
slow.
okay.
It's going to be in a
Mhm.
parade, and it's advertising. But
You didn't
Haley,
put it on in November.
right, and then drive on
and
a
then
freeway.
Drive it
Yeah.
till goddamn
regularly.
January.
Yeah, no, but we're doing the Christmas parade in DRW again, and Haley's like, "Well, what are we going to put on it?" And I was like, "Only things that won't ruin it. That's the only thing I care about. Like, you can do whatever you want. You could do like that spray snow stuff all over it. That's fine. You could do whatever you want, but we're not going to be." There was somebody a couple years back that did the Christmas parade, and they used duct tape to hold stuff on their paint.
Classic.
And I was like, that's going to be
Mhm.
fun. You're going to have a real good time at the end of this.
That's worse than tree pitch.
Oh, man. Not enough orange. What is that orange stuff in the world? The Goo
Goof off. Goof
Yeah.
gone. Whatever the hell. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So it's a slight change of subject. Thinking of my sore shin, I thought about Mike this weekend. We went out Christmas
Aw.
tree hunting, and we did some fun little hill climbs and wheeling. And I was spotting Robert up this hill, and I told him, I'm like, dude, you just got to give it the beans, point it in that direction, and get the fuck out of here. And so he did that, and then I ended up behind the vehicle, and he shot a rock out
Oh my God.
about the size of a softball, and it hit me right in the goddamn shin.
Uh-huh.
So it reminded me of Tyson's bachelor party when you got hit by a rock.
With a rock.
Mhm.
Real hard.
Man, that son
was
of
a
a
good
bitch
time.
came flying out.
Is he going to come over when you come over and bring your wheeling stuff?
I don't know if they're going to do Christmas in Bend, but if they do, we should bring his ass along for snow wheeling.
Yeah. Christmas Eve is Tuesday.
Wednesday night. Is it Tuesday night? Okay.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday, and then
So
Shit.
Christmas is Wednesday.
we can either do it Tuesday morning, or we can try and do something I could probably
Thursday.
take Monday off or the day after off if necessary. But ideally, Christmas Eve morning would be great for me if everybody's available to do some snow wheeling.
Technically, we're open.
Well,
So, yeah.
If we did it on...
Granted, I make my own hours, but that also means Tyson's not included.
yeah.
So, unless we get lucky, like they'll the main office will monitor phone calls, and if it's just like dead, Tyson said sometimes we'll get the call
Kicked out early.
Hey, go ahead and close up at noon. Get out of here. So there may be a possibility of Tyson being available after noon, but otherwise, because I was talking to him because it would be nice if we could record that on any day that week, because Jesse being in town would be nice to have an in-person extra person type of thing.
I won't be here.
It'd be
You'll be
fun to go out.
That's fine because if we had Tyson, Jesse, Mike, me,
that's perfect.
And then you can be remote.
I'm going to be on my honeymoon, so probably not.
Okay, so we'll call you.
Okay.
Sean,
you're going to be there, goddammit. Right? You're the fucking host, Sean.
Yeah. We have,
be prepared for a Zoom
radio
call.
silence.
Yeah.
Well, it would be fun to go out wheeling and then get back and do a pod. And then
something along
part
those
ways.
lines.
Yeah, my dad would be interested in going if we're doing not snow wheeling, but if we're doing snow wheeling, his truck is not.
I don't know what that means.
Well, if we're gonna go
aren't you wheeling in the snow?
If we're gonna go do like Klein or go do something else that's off-roading, he would like to go. But if it's snow stuff, because he's got that JK now, that's like just a little bit nicer than mine, which is fun.
So he wants to beat it up at Klein, but he doesn't want to drive it in the snow.
Well, it's
Thank
on
you,
like
Sean.
31-inch tires, and it's not very tall, and it's got running boards that hang down, and it would just get...
Just put him in the back.
Yeah.
Everybody else will flatten it out for him.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm going to bring the crawlers so I can pave the way. No problem.
He has a little bit of trepidation because last time he went snow wheeling with anybody, my mom got her knee destroyed.
That was the last time he went, huh?
Yeah. It hasn't gone since. He got out of Jeeps for a while.
Well, I'm retired.
Yeah. Yep. Got out of Jeeps completely for a while after that. So, but I just think we want to bring my mom.
Yeah, there is that option too.
Yeah.
Sorry, Teresa.
Yeah.
Sorry, Teresa. What a callback.
Oh, man.
That was a good callback.
Yeah. If there's one thing I'm good at is bringing back something that we forgot about.
Bringing up old shit.
Yeah.
Jesse the grudge holder.
Jesse, what's it called when the trucks only lift the front and not the back?
Carolina squat.
Whoa, you got it.
Good
All
job.
right.
I did it. I actually did it.
One in a row.
One in a row.
Woo!